Good evening, or good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are. I'm Tom Jeunesse, and we're here for Wine 101. I'm from the International House of Wine and Cheese, and for winelovers.com. We're joined today. We've got a wonderful guest. He's in town. It's always nice when you get to have a winemaker present.
Awesome.
And we're here with Haim. I don't want to botch your last name. I'm Daria.
Haim Gurari.
You know, I got C's in school. What can I say?
Wine 101. What do you do when you get a glass of wine? Okay, what do you do first?
Well, you know,
you look at it, right?
Yeah,
You look at it. Okay. Does it look good? Does it look as wine should look? Is it red? It's not brown. Okay.
Hopefully it's not brown.
Hopefully it's not brown. What happens if it's brown? What does it mean?
Well, what does it mean?
It means that it's oxidized.
It's oxidized.
And then you smell it.
Yeah.
You smell it, and it has an oxidized smell.
So let's go. So you're putting it in the glass. You're looking at it. The next thing is
you put it under your nose.
stick your nose right in there.
Stick the nose in it. You smell. So what do you smell? Okay.
What are you smelling here?
I smell fruit.
Yeah, there's a lot of fruit in this Barbera.
A lot of fruit, and I smell more than fruit. I smell a hint of chocolate.
You do? Yeah. No, I don't get that, but let me try again.
It's okay.
And you know, I'll tell you, the hardest thing for a beginning wine person is to be able to describe or pick out what you're smelling. It's often you're saying, I know what that is, but I can't put it into words.
It happens to everybody.
Yeah, it's very difficult. It takes a long time. Don't get discouraged if that happens to you.
So you smell, okay? You get an impression from the smell.
Right.
And then what do you do?
Drink some.
And then you drink it.
You're gonna drink it.
You try to keep it in your mouth, okay? You swish it back and forth.
Yeah, because you got your tongue picks up different sensations.
Right.
So that's why you want it to permeate your entire tongue.
And then you think, is the taste really agreeing with the smell? Or is it disappointing? Or suddenly you're surprised?
Right.
Okay.
That does happen all the time.
Okay. Does this wine surprise you?
No, it actually
doesn't.
smells.
It delivers. It delivers the promise.
And it's the consistency about how it smells in the first taste, and then the finish down your throat. And if it's consistent, it's very consistent. So now, when you do your blending, I've been told that the palate is most lively at about 10 in the morning. Do you find that for yourself, or do you blend 3 a.m. or what? I mean, what do you do?
I'll tell you, I never make a decision with one time, tasting a wine one time. I taste it in the morning, I taste it in the evening.
Okay.
And I taste it again and again. And I take my time. So I make a blend, I set it aside, I come back maybe a week later and taste it.
Now, do you have other people that taste it? How many acres of vines do you have planted?
I have now 40 acres.
40 acres.
40 acres. Yes.
And how many, this is kind of an interesting thing. In an acre of vines for most grapes, how many bottles will that make? How does that translate? So for the common person, how many cases?
Okay, I'll do the calculation.
All right.
Okay. It depends on the variety.
Right.
Okay. If you have a variety like Cabernet Franc or Cabernet Sauvignon, they will not produce a lot. They will produce, let's say, 2 to 2.5 tons an acre. Okay. Let's take 2 tons an acre. Okay. Each ton will give you about 150 gallons.
Okay.
Okay. 150 gallons. 150 gallons is 2.5 barrels. Each barrel gives you 25 cases.
Right.
Okay. So figure out. It's 62.5 cases per ton. Okay, 2 tons, it's 125 cases.
Wow.
Okay, so from 1 acre, you can get 125 cases, or you can get 250 cases if it's producing 4 tons an acre.
Anyway, so that's it for this week's edition of Wine 101. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Hey, cheers.
Your wines are great. I enjoyed drinking them tonight, and good luck for you in the future.
Thank you.
See you next time.
everybody, and welcome to Wine Library TV. I'm your host, Gary Vaynerchuk. And now, one of the most interesting wines that have ever been on Wine Library TV, and I'm going to explain the whole kit and caboodle to you why. This is the Baron Herzog Jeunesse 2006 Cabernet. And I'm going to explain to you why Joe Hurleman, a winemaker, has produced something very interesting. Now, this is from California and from the Central Coast. And I'm going to explain this wine very carefully. I think, had this wine not been a kosher wine, this concoction, let's call it, that it could become one of the bigger phenomenons for a short term, short to medium term, which is 5 to 10 years, of wine in the American wine world. And I'll tell you why. This is a semi-sweet Cabernet. And I've tasted this wine once before. I tasted it again to just refresh my memory so I can really drill home my point. Great color, 11 bones, great price for a Cabernet. Taste the rainbow. You know, Skittles is in the hizzy right now. And that's great because Skittles hasn't made an appearance on WLTV in a while. Great Skittles flavor. Classic tangerine flavor as well. You know when tangerine peel, you could just, put your hand, squeeze a little bit and you can smell it? You're getting a lot of that tangerine peel on the nose. This wine is semi-sweet. It's got a nice black cherry flavor component going on. Really dark raspberry, and the whole flavor profile is extremely jammy and extremely, extracted. Very new world in that matter. It is that level right above. If this wine took one turn down, one turn, in blind tastings it would be mistaken for $60 Barossa Shiraz, for example. Or, because it's got that fruit, those classic fruit bombs have so much of that residual sugar. This has a little bit more than that. However, I believe there is an absolute need out there for a wine of this nature. We have had this discussion lots of times amongst our wine staff. People come in and ask for a little bit sweeter or fruitier. And you give them Beaujolais, and you give them all these other wines that you kind of give to somebody looking for a fruity red wine. And they're just not happy. Because at the end of the day, they're still dry wines. Zinfandels, Merlots, Beaujolais, they just don't work. And this wine does work and will hit lots and lots of palates right. As a matter of fact, this is a great wine that I've started using to segue people away from white Zinfandel, for example. And so they're getting, they're getting a little bit of the best of both worlds. They're still getting their sugar fix, and you want to keep those people under control. But they're getting some true red wine elements in there. The black currant that comes through a little bit in this, the finish, the structure, the tannins are there much more. And it's a very intriguing wine to me. And really what I said to myself after I tasted this wine was, wow, if this wasn't kosher, and this was a brand out of California that marketed it, had a little fun, this is not too far off to what people are going bonkers over. And I mean like, boing, over Yellowtail. And let's talk about other wines that have a little bit more sugar than their friends in their categories. Kendall Jackson, Chardonnay, another phenomenon. Santa Margherita Pinot Grigio. You following the trend here? Hey, Americans, we like the sugar. Now, I think that's going to change because we're not growing up on soda pop anymore. I'm going south on you there. A little soda pop or pop. We're not growing up on pop anymore. We're a little bit more of a water culture, so I do see things changing. However, if you've got somebody who likes the sweet stuff, and you don't want to give them the Manish habits, and you don't want to give them the white Zinfandel, and you want to mix it up and get them into wine a little bit at a very minimal cost, this is the first product that's ever come across my desk. I was stunned, and I was really into it. Again, the cachet of being kosher is going to limit this. And I feel bad for Baron Herzog Winery because somebody else is going to come out and do this, and they're going to be like, what about us? Like the pockets and there's no change in it. Think of that character, like this, the lip, the whole nine. It's a nice wine. I like it. It's an 85-point wine for me. I mean, it's nothing life-changing, but the flavor profile and the kind of wine it is very interesting. And just from like the business of wine standpoint, for me, it's very intriguing. And most importantly, I think there's a lot of people. I know that every one of you who's watching right now has that person in their lives that needs to try this wine. And they're going to love you. They're going to love you good.